They didn't know your name. They didn't know your tribe. And that was enough to kill you. For most of human history, a stranger wasn't just unfamiliar. A stranger was a threat, by default, before they said a single word. Not because ancient humans were cruel, because trusting the wrong person could end your entire group. Before we go further, if this is the kind of history that actually explains why we think the way we do, subscribe now. This channel goes into the parts of human psychology that never made it into any textbook. Here's the rule. For roughly 200,000 years, human groups lived in bands of maybe 25 to 50 people. Everyone in that band knew everyone else. They knew who could be trusted with food, with a child, with a secret. Someone from outside that circle didn't have that history. And with no history, there was no way to predict what they'd do. So the brain adapted. Fast. Facial recognition studies show humans can distinguish an in-group face from an out-group face in a fraction of a second. Faster than we can consciously register we've done it. That split-second judgment wasn't racism. It wasn't tribalism for its own sake. It was a survival algorithm built for a world where the wrong guest at your fire could mean your whole group didn't wake up the next morning. Archaeological sites back this up in disturbing detail. Mass graves from the Neolithic period in places like Germany and Austria show entire villages wiped out at once. Men, women, children, all killed in a single event, with wounds concentrated on outsiders' remains showing different tool marks than the tools used by the resident group. Entire settlements destroyed, not by disease, not by famine, by other humans who saw them as outsiders and acted accordingly. And it wasn't only violence. Some of the earliest evidence of trade, obsidian tools moved hundreds of kilometers from their source, seashells found deep inland, shows something else. Early humans did trust outsiders, but only through ritual, only through exchange, only through repeated contact that slowly built the kind of history a stranger didn't start with. Trust had to be earned in stages. It didn't come free. This is where it gets uncomfortable because that same wiring never left us. Modern psychology has a name for it: the in-group, out-group bias. Show people a photo of a face from their own ethnic group and a face from a different one, and brain scans show the amygdala, the fear center, lights up more for the unfamiliar face. Not because the person is dangerous, because for 200,000 years, unfamiliar meant unpredictable, and unpredictable meant dangerous. Every instinct you have about trusting your gut around someone new, that gut feeling is a 200,000-year-old alarm system, still running, still making the same calculation it made around a fire in the Pleistocene. The people who ignored that alarm didn't always survive. The people who listened to it and their descendants are the ones telling this story now. Here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. That same instinct that once protected small bands from raiders is the same instinct behind modern xenophobia, behind the split-second judgments we still make about people who look or sound unfamiliar. We didn't invent this bias. We inherited it. It was built for a world of 25 people and immediate physical danger, and we're still running it in a world of 8 billion people and video calls. Some researchers believe the earliest human alliances, the first treaties between separate bands, weren't built on trust at all. They were built on shared enemies. Two groups that feared a third group would ally with each other, not because they liked each other, but because the math of survival favored numbers. The oldest form of diplomacy on Earth might not have been friendship. It might have been mutual fear, formalized. And when that fear had no outlet, it turned inward. Some anthropologists point to evidence of ritual scapegoating in early societies. A stranger, or someone marked as different, blamed for a bad harvest, a death, a plague, and cast out or killed to relieve the group's collective anxiety. The outsider wasn't just distrusted, Sometimes the outsider was sacrificed quite literally to make everyone else feel safe again. So the next time you feel that instant, wordless unease around someone you've just met, someone who looks different, sounds different, comes from somewhere you don't understand, that's not a personal failure. That's not something modern society taught you. That's an alarm system older than agriculture, older than language as we know it, built by ancestors who needed it to survive. The question this history leaves you with doesn't have a comfortable answer. If the fear of strangers kept our ancestors alive for 200,000 years, what exactly are we supposed to do with an instinct built for a world that doesn't exist anymore? We can't switch it off. We can only recognize it for what it is. Not a moral failing, not an opinion, but a piece of hardware installed by evolution, still running in the background, still quietly deciding who gets your trust before you've even said hello. Ancient humans built entire survival systems around one rule: know your circle, fear what's outside it. We inherited the rule. We just forgot where it came from. If this is the kind of history you didn't learn in school, there's more of it here. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.